Hello and welcome to the next 100 Days podcast. My name is Graham Arrowsmith.
And my name's Kevin Appleby. Now, Graham, we've had on this podcast guests from all over the world and pretty much all races and so on. But while we've had Indians on the show before, we've never had an Indian resident. So we're going all the way to New Delhi today to talk to Shiv Gupta.
Absolutely right. Yeah, we have had people from India before, but they've lived here.
Yeah.
So I am absolutely, like you, Kevin, delighted to have Shiv Gupta here from India. Welcome to the next 100 Days podcast.
So thanks for having me here, Kevin and Graham. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, we're recording this in our afternoon, and Shiv tells us is that it's middle of his day, but it's 8:30 at night with you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Majority of our clients are from US and Canada. So yeah, most of them call me night owl because I'm still in the middle of my day and I sleep pretty late.
It must be quite frustrating for some of those people in Canada, especially if they're blocked off by the truckers. They won't be getting any work done, will they?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not. So, Shiv, what you do is you actually provide search engine optimization and paid-click services. Tell us a little bit about your business. It's called Incrementers.
That's right. So the name of my company is Incrementers Web Solutions, and we are into digital marketing space. So we basically help clients in getting more traffic, more leads, and more sales online. And we do this through a couple of strategies, as you mentioned, like SEO, PPC, email automation, right? And a lot of organic approaches. And all these strategies are majorly help towards getting the traffic to the website. But a lot of work needs to be done to increase the sales on the website as well, right? You need to have proper CTA and need to do a lot of work. So we help our clients in setting all those things on their website so they get the sale which they deserve.
Yeah. And so in your experience then, Shiv, is when you get a client, you look at their website, you must weep. I mean, you probably think it's a good job you've got here because, it's better late than never. But do you really make a big difference with your services?
Yes, most of our clients feel very happy. Like once we start making changes on their website and once we start ton of changes, right? And you are absolutely correct. Like when we see the website at first, we get confused. What exactly are you doing, right? They don't have proper messaging, right? They are providing services or products of one type of thing and they are talking about a lot of things, right? Then what we do is we start with copywriting. We help them in coming up with a proper messaging, a proper USP and their brand positioning basically. And there we encourage them to send the correct message to their targeted audience, right? What should they say? It should be crisp and clear. It should not be ambiguous or create confusion in the visitor's mind. So that's where we start. And even with those small changes, right, clients start becoming very happy and they start understanding the difference.
So that's really interesting, Kevin. I don't know about you. It's the messaging first then.
Messaging first, but I guess there's a step before that, Shiv, that's that you must need to do a reasonable amount of work with the client to work out who the messaging is for.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. So the buyer persona, we give training sessions to our clients because whenever you ask anyone that whom do you sell, with most of them you get the answer, we sell to everybody.
That's it. In my experience, I don't know about you, Shiv. If you say you sell to everybody, you sell to nobody.
That's absolutely correct, right? So you need to have some sort of niche. So we train them how to create buyer persona. We literally make them sit and ask them to give the name to their persona. We tell them to give their name, what's the age of that, what's their demographics, what's their interest, their pain points, their pleasure areas, all those sort of things. Because once they start writing these things down, then they start realizing, okay, these were the errors which I was doing. And once that is done, then we make them understand who are your amazing clients and who are only your breadwinning clients and in which direction you should focus. A lot of times we see people just run PPC and they are just targeting everyone, or if they are targeting correctly, they are just targeting those breadwinning customers instead of those amazing clients who can change their life. So we make them sit, we help them in understanding of what they should be doing, what should be the target audience, and based upon that, obviously clients help us in coming up with the brand messaging and everything, but we make them understand and then we come up a brand messaging which is very specific. And once we start putting those on the website, once the clients start talking about their correct customers, correct potential customers, and once the content of the entire website changes, right, that's when the magic starts happening.
It sounds, I mean, even for a small business like mine, and I dare say Kevin's as well, but it sounds like that's such an awful lot of work.
Yeah, at first, at first it feels like it's a lot of work, but when you literally sit and start working on it, it's not that much tedious or it's not that much problematic. And another thing which I tell my client is that version 1 is always better than version none. You can always keep on improving, but let's just sit, let's just make the version 1, start drafting out things based upon that, and gradually as you will grow, as you will start understanding this space in a better way, then we'll keep on improving and modifying the changes as we go.
So do you employ copywriters in different territories? Like you mentioned that you worked in United States and Canada and the United Kingdom. Do you have domestic copywriters, or are they actually based in India as well?
Yeah, we have mix. We have majority of the copywriters from India itself, but we have some copywriters working in the United States and Canada as well. Because even though a person is having very good English, they cannot have the understanding of the slang which that country uses. So for that, you need someone to proofread or make sure that whatever it's written, it's correct. And in some cases, clients, they help in crafting out the perfect messaging for them. So that's how it goes in our case.
Yeah. So it's done with you then, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So you right. So you start then. You have a look at the website. You realize that it's focused to everybody, and so you narrow that focus down to an ideal audience for them. Start telling us about the technical things now of getting more people to the website itself.
So to get more people to the website, the first homework which was supposed to be done is done, right? We have their targeted audience, we know their age, we know their demographics, so it becomes very easy for us to target those on different mediums. For instance, if we are running ad for them on Facebook, it becomes very easy because now we know their desires, we know their pains, we know their age. So you just set those things properly. There should be a proper hook when you are advertising, right? It should obviously be backing up with what products and services you are offering, and then we start doing their guest posting. We start sending them on podcasts, right? Like I am here right now, to their targeted areas. And once they start speaking about their products, once they start speaking about their what they do and how they are helping others, that's when they start attracting the right type of people. Because for instance, like we are highly customized solution providers. We create highly custom solutions for our clients. We don't just recycle the old strategies. We make sure that whatever we are offering is highly suitable for that client, right? So once a person starts speaking in that language, they attract those type of people. In that case, a person who is just looking for proposal and rates or quotations, right, who is just a quotation collector, won't fill out our form, right? And that's what happens with us as well. So once we start going out, once we start becoming guests on other websites, start getting backlinks, start running out ads, right? In some cases, case study based ads as well. So with all those strategies, we start sending the traffic towards their website.
Right.
So you mentioned backlinks there. Mm-hmm. How typically do you go about creating backlinks? You think these days it seems to be very difficult to be able to go and write blogs for other sites and things like that you might be able to put links into.
Backlinks, like they are basically like showing your presence at the right place at the right time. That's what I tell to my clients. For instance, we are into digital marketing space, and if someone is looking for top 10 digital marketing agencies, right? So we should be present on those websites. We need to make sure that we are present there. We have decent number of reviews from our clients. So all you need to do is just think about your targeted audience and put your leg into their shoe and just start thinking how they'll find us, where exactly they spend their time, and just start showing up in those areas. Once you start doing that, you don't need to worry too much about backlinks. All you need to do is you need to make sure that you are adding value and you are present at the right spot where your targeted audience is. And once they start interacting with your post, once they start interacting with your things, then they eventually come to your website. Now, as you mentioned that it has become a little difficult. The difficulty is when you have a crappy website, when your blog is crappy, your content is crappy, right? But when you are providing actual value and you are trying to make a difference, people very happily connect with you, and they love to write, and they love to include your website. In a lot of our cases, what we have seen is once we published a blog, we started getting backlinks naturally because people enjoyed reading those and they started referencing those. So you need to make sure that whatever you are doing with proper quality. Like a lot of marketing teams, what I have seen is they focus heavily towards lead generation, right? They don't care about the quality of the lead, or they don't care, like for instance, if I'm giving a PDF in return of a lead, right? So a lot of marketers, they just take that lead and give that to their sales team, but they don't focus their experience. Once they read that PDF, what type of perspective they'll be having, right? They create a crappy PDF just to get the emails, and once you do these type of things, you don't get the sale, right? Because person doesn't see you as a market expert or a leader, right? So you need to make sure that you are providing good value and good experience. Once you start thinking in that way, then people very happily accept you. Plus, a lot of I have seen like once you start going out there, start listing yourself in a couple of good websites, you don't need to be present everywhere. You just need to be present on the right ones. I would say every industry has top 5 to 10 websites where they list all their competitors. So just start from there. You'll start getting a lot of offers. A lot of people would like to talk to you, right? So start from there, and eventually you will start getting backlinks. So what I have seen is backlinks, people have started thinking that okay, I need to have a link here, I need to have a link there, whether that adds value or whether that doesn't add any value at all, right? It doesn't work that way. Google is very smart these days. So you need to make sure whatever you are trying, you are adding value, and once you start doing that, people start showing their love to you.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that we've always found helps people add backlinks is being a guest on the podcast. Because you're on the podcast today.
That's right.
You're going to get yourself into our publicity, and no doubt there will be links back to your website in our show notes. Mm-hmm. So what's your view on podcasting when you're trying to promote a client?
Yeah, so podcasting, I would say, is an amazing strategy. Like you go there, but going there just with the mindset that okay, you'll get a backlink, right, won't cut it. And even if you don't get a backlink, they just mention your company, right, and you have given a good interview, people will literally copy that name, search that on Google, and come to your website. So again, it all comes down to providing value.
What we found, Shiv, is that I was telling this to actually a new client, and the client's not even in this country, and he mentioned, I've had a look at your website, I've listened to a couple of your podcasts, looked at a couple of your blogs, and actually my boss, who was the founder of the company, said deal with him first. And so his job was to get in touch with me and have a conversation. Now what we found, Kevin and I did some research some time ago by name. So when we finished this podcast and we published it, your name, when somebody searches for you, you'll probably find our podcast episode with you on the top 2 pages, probably the top one. It's about 80% that's with the name recognition on the first page. So if somebody's actually, and they often do, want to research you as an individual, not just incrementers, but you, then you'll probably find you on this podcast, and they'll say, oh, he's a charming fella. Yeah, and he knows his stuff. And SEO, yeah, he knows it backwards. There's some really good tips there as well. And what was really quite fun for me to learn is that this new client said, well, they'd listened to all these things, and it felt like somebody had been watching me round, you know what I mean? And
You've been
along with the police and all these other people who are probably watching me through, a long lens at the moment. But no, seriously, it was quite. It is a little bit like that now because people research, don't they?
That's right. People, the buyers are very smart, right? They do proper due diligence before making a purchase, right? People want to know the insights. People want to know who is actually behind the management, right? Who is actually running the show. They want to know about you. They want to personally connect, and then they want to make a purchase, right? So like becoming a thought leader or giving interviews like this has become very important. Personal branding is game changer these days, and I recommend almost all my clients to be like a guest on podcasts, to be guest on interviews, right? Some of them feel shy, but we encourage them. Okay, let's just give it one try. You will love the conversation.
Well, you just got to send them along to us. Shiv.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We'll cure any guests that are a bit shy.
That's for sure. But the truth is, we're delighted to have our first Indigenous Indian on the show. You're not the first Indian, but basically, you obviously have started that business in New Delhi. How long have you been going now?
It's almost been 10 years. I'm into this business.
You don't look that old enough. I mean, you look barely out your teens. How come you've done that?
Yeah, I started very early, right? I started doing research, and I was highly interested in this industry. So I started at the age of 17. And after working for 2-3 years, I started with incrementers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so impressive. I have to say, though, I think that's a function of many people in your country, a very get up and go country, and lots to be admired about India and the people in India. You've obviously got this business now, and you're attracting businesses to you. Have you got any secrets that you'll share with other people to say, look, if you do these 3 things, this will really help you?
The most important aspect of getting good business or good clients, or maybe clients who become your friends eventually, is you need to have the right focus, right? And you need to make sure that, as I mentioned earlier, you are adding a lot of value. So instead of focusing on lead generation, I tell all my clients and even my marketing team to work on producing demand, to work towards demand generation. Like work on solving the problems, create blogs, create videos, create content which is actually solving the problems, right? And I always say that either educators will rule the world, or the funny people, right? Entertainers will rule the world. So you need to make sure that you are putting yourself in one of those spaces to make sure that you are doing it well. So that is the first thing which I say, that you should have proper focus, and you don't need to worry about leads. You should think in the direction of generating demands, because when you do that, your sales cycle reduces, your focus goes in the correct direction, right? You, instead of talking to your team that how many leads have you generated this week or that month, last month, you start focusing on what was the size or what was the duration of the sales cycle, why it is not reducing, how we can reduce this. Because once you start doing the correct conversation, then everyone started focusing on the correct direction. Now they know that to reduce the sales cycle, they need to have the perfect PDF. They should have perfect emails to their to their subscribers, all those sort of things, right? And they start doing the right things instead of focusing on the quantity. Everything shifts towards the quality, and the traditional system is to blame for this. We have been from past 20 years asking how many leads, how many sales, all those revenue towards that, but the correct matrices are a bit different. So the
Yeah,
first
we do seem to be overly obsessed by leads, overly obsessed by how big's your email list.
That's right, and
Not
even
what's the quality of your email list.
that's right.
To me, one of those, your lead magnets should be doing as much to repel the wrong person as to attract the right person.
That's right, because eventually those wrong person will waste a lot of time of your sales team, right? So you need to save this. For instance, in my agency, we have a team size of around 110 people, but we have only 3 salespeople. That's it, and 3 are also because if one needs to go somewhere, so second one should be there to help them out.
But your business has over 100 people in it.
Yeah.
That's a big business then, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. Like I have a lovely team out here, and some of them are on different parts of the world, but yeah, majority of them are in India.
So most of them are in the same building, but you have other people in other parts of the world.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, you're still a very young man, and at the end of the day, you've built a business which serves others, but you've also got, what's really important here is that you haven't answered my question, by the way. You've got one answer so far, so don't forget. It's a bit like an elephant. I don't forget. But basically, but the nice thing is that you've got good answers for the questions that we're putting towards you. So anybody thinking about, well, is this guy going to be good enough for us? Well, yeah, you are. But I mean, give me another one of those things that people would really, that's a good idea. What else could they be doing?
So this second answer has multiple parts, and this
That's a sneaky way of getting his list of 20 things in.
These are a couple of sales strategies, I would say. All right, and like anyone listening to this podcast, if they listen to just this part, the next 5 to 10 minutes, like their brain will start exploding. They'll start thinking, okay, I can do this, I can do that. So it's a disclaimer before I start speaking about that. So there are a couple of sales strategies which we implement on our client's website, right? You can either combine multiple strategies or use whatever fits you. So a couple of strategies are, for instance, landmine strategy. You would have seen that when you go to a store, they put eggs with milk, or they put toffees at the counter where you pay for money, right? So landmine strategy is the one where you put small items which keeps coming in front of the eye of the visitor, right? So if I talk about the online environment, then creating combos before the checkout. So this way, when people are buying, okay, they'll say, okay, I'll just buy this one as well, right? So we see our clients, and based upon their website, we implement. Second is, what's in it for me? Like, you always need to answer the question, like, what's in it for your visitor, right? And you need to prove the customer that they have their maximum benefit. So this is basically benefit based selling, and if done it right, the average purchase value increases because they buy higher and they buy more often when they see benefit inside it. They're like, you just need to convince them that they have a benefit, right? Other one is middle one strategy. So instead of saying, will you buy from me, or whether you will buy from me or not, instead of that, put 3 options or 4 options. One very expensive, one very cheap, and the middle one, and ask them, okay, out of these 3, which one you would want to buy. So this is highly powerful and a psychological game. Like they'll just start thinking, okay, I should buy this one or I should buy that one, right? And other than that, there are case studies based selling. So it is very powerful for B2B space. Just come up with one problem.
Give that choice of 3, Shiv. Do you think anybody ever buys the expensive option, or is it just there to convince people there's a great deal on the table?
Actually, very rarely anyone buys it, right? It is just to like make them understand or like play them psychologically that okay, they are getting maximum value in the middle offer. So in the middle offer you get lot of values, and with two or three changes you just put the highest value, right? So once they buy the middle offer, they think that they have made a very smart decision when they went with the second option and they didn't purchase the highest one. For instance, you've seen that whenever we go to buy a car, right, they always have maximum of them have three variants. We never buy the middle last one. We never buy the most expensive one, right? We majorly buy the middle vehicle, right? So that's how it happens. Or if you have a lot of money, then you go and buy the limited option, which was my next strategy, right? So have the limited edition and crave them for better and like scarce more thing which is very less. So similarly, you would have seen in a lot of websites this another strategy which we implement is risk reversal, right? Money back guarantee or providing them 50 to 30-day free trial. So all these strategies like membership sales strategies, this is very powerful. Like with this strategy, you get a lot of friends who become your customers and a lot of customers who eventually become your friends, right? For instance,
your website is quite impressive, and you'd expect it to be, wouldn't you? Because it's basically your shop window. It's a bit like you're outside of Harrods and you're looking at the window displays. You're thinking, I'm going to go in there. It looks like a really good shop. Now, with incrementers, you have on your contact form, you have how much is your monthly marketing budget. And that ranges as, from quite a bit to not an awful lot. But basically, what's the typical client expectation of spend with somebody like incrementers?
So average spend with our clients I have seen is in a range of $2,000 per month to $5,000. That is what like most of our clients we have are paying us.
Yeah. So basically, then you that's if it's in dollars, that's anyway it'd be about 1.5 k pounds up to I don't know what do you say
4k pounds.
But yeah, so it's that kind of level per month. So it's anywhere up to about 50,000 quid a month a year. So it's that type of investment at one end, or 12,000-15,000 at the other end. So it is still quite a lot of money. What do you get for that money?
So with that, like we help them with their entire PPC campaign, their entire SEO campaign. So for instance, like people never purchase from you, like very rarely anyone buys from you during their first visit. So you need to make sure that you keep reminding them about your products and services. You keep reminding them about your brand. So what we do is we help them in running their retargeting campaigns on Facebook and Google. We help them in setting up their email automation campaigns, right? We help them in setting up their subscribers. So we, like as I mentioned, we combine 2 or 3 different things based upon the client's needs. As I said, that we don't just do SEO or we don't just do PPC. We see what is the maximum, like what is most suitable for the client, and then we offer or create the product around that. And similarly, I was talking about sales strategy. So we see which sales strategy is fit for them. We have a list of more than 100 strategies. We literally go one by one and see which one is fit for them, and we optimize their website based upon that. So from from beginning till the end, we help them with everything in setting up each and everything. There's call to actions, their brand messaging, how traffic will come to their website, what would be their like funnel or the conversion cycle, all those sort of things. So that's what we get.
So it's quite all encompassing then. So when I look at your website, it looks a bit different from mine. I tend to use, I do use WordPress with a theme called Divi from Elegant Themes. And that's it. That's all I've ever used. You, on the other hand, your site is probably not WordPress, is it? You'll be using something else.
Yeah, actually, our website is also WordPress. Earlier, it was in HTML, PHP, but now we have converted into WordPress.
Right. Oh, so well, that's reassuring. People are coming towards me. I feel that's reassuring that I've got a WordPress site. But so is there anything that so you would you typically set somebody up in WordPress from as part of your helping them?
Yeah, definitely. And one of the reason why we have WordPress is we want to resonate with our clients, right? We tell them that okay, if we can do this, you can also do this, right? We show them to some of them. We show them our entire funnel and sales process, the marketing process, so that they could understand and start implementing on their business. So after a couple of tweaks, it becomes easy, and majority of the people these days are using WordPress. So that's why we also decided to use what our customers using, and it is very easy to use as well, right? They can literally, with very less knowledge, go ahead and make the changes on their website.
Yeah.
I think these days there are so many powerful plugins that you can get for WordPress that it turns into being pretty much a very, very high quality solution for most things.
Yeah, but Kevin, hold on a minute. I was following a course that was provided by a guy that did the designer thing, the flipbook thing, and he was doing another course. Anyway, the thing is, I was following that, and one of the things it said is make your site run quicker.
Yeah.
Because Google prefer that because people just do. They don't want to wait around 5 seconds before it loads. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, okay, I'll just do that test, a speed test on my site. And it was a bit too slow, and it was slower still on mobile. So I set about changing things. Now, it's not work that's completely finished at the moment, but I have to say that one of the things that I was guided to is get rid of plugins.
Yes. There are a lot of things which needs to be done to improve the site, but yeah, getting rid of useless plugins is the best one. I can literally tell you that what people do is they install a plugin, test it, and forget to delete it. And in most of the cases I've seen, they forget to deactivate it. Later on, it becomes very difficult. Even some of the clients who come to us, they come with 3 or 4 slider plugins, right? I get shocked after seeing that. And so it becomes a task to make sure that you don't delete the wrong plugin, and maybe that particular plugin they are using on some random page, right? Which makes issues for them. So whenever a use of plugin or testing of plugin is done, please remove that, right? On my website, I have only 5 to 7 plugins, that's it, right? A lot of people, they install 40 to 50 plugins, right? So instead of that, there are a lot of alternative ways which you can use. So instead, use those, and that makes your website load very quicker. Other than that, some plugins are good to increase the page load speed, like W3 total cache or W3 super cache. So that helps in improving the page load speed as well. So yeah, you need to have a mix, right? Ideally, I would say a website should not have more than 15 plugins. They should have in the range of 12 to 15 plugins. That's it.
Yeah. We actually found 2 things, Graham, that improved the speed of our site colossally. And that was, number 1, a dedicated WordPress host.
Yeah.
And we were using, for my personal stuff, I use one-in-one. Yeah. And I think that's all right if you've got a low traffic website, it doesn't matter. But once you start running things like membership sites, learning management systems, and so on, you need a host that can really give you the performance. So we're now using for Grow CFO a service called Kinsta, which is really, really fast. Yeah. And we've actually found that we've got rid of Divi as well.
Right. Okay.
Divi we found was very, very code heavy. And probably those 2 things have been the biggest changes we've had in getting some decent site speed.
But that must mean that you have to build in WordPress itself.
Yes, if it's WordPress coding, then you'll have.
So you'd have a different theme then. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you have a theme, but there's a much more up to date thing that does much the same as your Divi does now, called Elementor.
Oh, I see. So it is a kind of a different thing then.
Yeah.
So okay, all right, but all right. So well, it might be something worth looking at. But here we have an expert online. What would you do if you found that you've got a site that was really slowly loading? What would be the steps that you would take?
So this like in some of the cases, client don't agree to shift the server, right? Because everything is there, everything is working fine for them. So we start with easy things. And the first thing, as we were talking, we start with removing the plugins which are useless. After that, adding the plugins which are important like W3 cache, and then we train the client. We compress all the images, right? In a lot of cases we have seen is they upload 3 MB, 5 MB images, so we convert them into 300 kbs, 400 kbs. After that, we try to switch that website to CDN, so that from whatever location that user is trying to open the website, they get the details from the nearest server. After that, it goes a little complex, like minimizing CSS, minimizing JavaScript, all the sort of things which any developer can easily understand. So going into that direction. So once those, and lazy loading, for instance, you would have seen a couple of websites, when you scroll down, only then the section loads, right? That is lazy loading. So adding those items also makes a lot of difference. That way, website doesn't load in a single instance, but when you go to that section, only then it loads. So that also saves a lot of bandwidth and improves the page loading speed. So these are a couple of things which we do on the client's website.
Well, that's really helpful, Shiv, because and those are some really helpful things to do. Because if you were to check speed of your own website, dear listener, then I think you'll probably find it's a bit like mine, a bit slower than it should be. So there are some really hard-nosed things you can do there. When it comes to PPC and that side of your business, do you just have people? I mean, it's a marketing exercise rather than anything else, isn't it? Because you're going back to the definition of the of who you want to attract, and then the offers that you're using, etc. Do you do all of that on behalf of your clients, or are clients half doing it with you?
We do that on the behalf of our clients, but what I've seen is I'm a digital marketing agency, and I'll just tell you the truth. Digital marketers can reach out to the correct audience. They can take your website and show that to the world, but the client needs to give their input for the correct messaging, because we know how to do the marketing, but in most of the cases the expertise of that domain or what type of service, right? Even if they are selling multiple services or multiple products, which product they want us to focus on majorly, right? So in some cases you get more sales in Christmas, in some cases you don't get any sales on Christmas, right? That depends from industry to industry. So you need to give those type of inputs beforehand, so that marketer can save you a lot of money and take the right decision, take your product to the right audience at right time, not during the wrong time. So that's where I would say that we need involvement of the clients as well, but obviously majority of the tasks we do.
Yeah. And how much do your clients typically spend on PPC?
Typically, like an average client spends around 10,000 to 20,000 USD per month on PPC.
So that's quite a bit of money. So that they're spending money on products that they're selling. So is it mainly products or is it services as well?
It's both. It's products, services, local services, dentists, right? They are also running PPC. In some cases,
are you focused on any particular sector, or are you focused on everybody?
No, we are majorly focused towards local services based clients, right? And even in that, we started with dentists, hair transplant surgeons, right, doctors, so health niche. And after that, we kept on expanding our niches to travel, right, and other areas as well. But majorly it's local services and like we help them in optimizing their Google My Business page, getting more reviews, right? We encourage them to take reviews from their clients. Even we are coming up with new initiatives which no one else in the industry is doing, so we are helping them to like them in training their receptionist as well, how to get more reviews, right, when someone visits their store, because no one is doing that, right? And if you train them properly, right, literally we or the client don't need to do anything, right? Other team members or things done correctly would make a lot of difference. So we are also trying to take those type of initiatives as well.
Excellent. Wow. Shiv, you've been, believe it or not, you've gone through an entire podcast and you've never stopped talking. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Absolutely
you're not,
fantastic, Shiv.
Yeah, I mean, you've got so much to offer that I'm sure that in about episode 1010, we'll probably bring you back. Because what happens with people is they come back to us. But if, mind you'll be a sort of a middle-aged man by then, and Kevin and I'll be, I don't know, retired.
I will have probably stopped podcasting by then. You never know. To episode 1000, Graham.
So just a little bit about you, Shiv, before we go. I mean, I suppose you play cricket every weekend, do you? Is that what you do?
Yeah, sometimes I go with my team and play cricket.
Yeah, what a wild guess that was, an Indian playing cricket. I don't understand. And what do you bowl as well? Are you a spin bowler?
No, I am more of a batsman.
Oh, batsman, yeah. I have a quite a decent spin, but I don't think I'd get in any team. But that was my thing. But yeah, all right, that's good. And well, okay. And if you had to cast your mind out for in a few years' time, what would you want from Incrementers?
Like right now, my entire focus is building amazing culture here, right? That's what I want from this year. I'm very specific, right? I want to make sure that all systems, processes and structures are in shape and the team is very happy. Like for instance, people love to crave to join Google, right? So I want to be that type of company in my industry, in my area. So that's what I'm aiming for this year. No major revenue goals, we are doing good. I want to make sure that each and every individual working here is very, very happy. Though they are very happy, but I want to make them very, very, very happy.
So are you a really good boss then?
Yeah, I hate the word boss because whenever someone says boss, a negative image comes into the mind. So we talk more towards leadership, yes. Yeah, most of my team members say so. They love interacting with me.
Okay. Well, I'm so delighted that you've joined us today, Shiv, because I think you've been a really interesting guest. You've covered lots of different areas for us, and I'm grateful for you to do that. And thanks for joining us today on the Next 100 Days podcast.
Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed the conversation, right? Like it is one of the most interesting and most energetic conversation. Like I've been to multiple podcasts, but I really enjoyed it. I never stopped smiling.
So Shiv, what was it like being on the Next 100 Days podcast?
It was amazing to be here. It was one of the best podcasts. I really enjoyed, and there was not even a single second when I stopped smiling. It was amazing conversation.
Wow.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.